G'day guys, and welcome to a quick review for Rosehill on the 17th of June. Bit of a quiet day really. Rail was in the true, and the pattern was kind of on pace. You wanted to be up there. It wasn't impossible to run, but it wasn't easy. It was definitely a heavy looking surface. A few horses did a few things that were positive in the meeting, so definitely worth going through. And starting with race 1 for the 2-year-olds, they definitely handed this race to Gulwar on a platter. It was kind of soft late in betting, which was a bit funny considering the tactics adopted by a couple of the other runners. The noticeable drifter in the market was Bull Market, raced accordingly, got back and was pretty weak. Koala Lai was pretty steady in the market, but strange tactics being ridden back in the field, and looked like it may have been a certainly beat the way it all panned out. A couple of good debuts from Condor, and I'm not even going to try and say this name, Guipure from the Godolphin team, Guipure. And I thought Emperor Arta ran quite well out of its grade, probably at this stage of its career, and back to the provincials might run a race, so we'll have a quick look. The start was obviously very influential on the finish here. Watching Hualalai forcibly restrained out of the gate, not even beaten for speed or missed the start. It was definitely a plan to get back there, and you can see that nothing really wants to lead here at all. Everything, even Bull Market, had a chance to go forward and restrains out of the race. So the two main dangers in betting are back, while Gulwar has handed us off lead. You can see it looks like it's going to track gallop speed in front. Emperor Arta out here 3 wide, no cover, which wasn't an easy thing to do up on the speed. It wasn't a bad spot in the straight, definitely to be 3 or 4 wide, but in the run wasn't ideal, and a good effort at its second start to just knock up Leighton, but ran really well. Condor box seated, Bull Market pretty much every chance. First starter here in Guipure, and Hualalai, who you'll see lets down nicely, even though it hangs in down the running here. But basically the race was over about 600, 700 metres out, and probably even further than that, and the winner has done a decent enough job, but had everything in its favour this time. See the second half horse Chase Hard. Emperor Arta still right there until very late, and just gets beaten late. Good debut efforts from Condor, and the horse back on the inside that was never in the right spot in running. Funny race that I'm not overly excited to follow form out of, but it wouldn't surprise me if horses came out of it to win, and I don't really want to knock the first or second horses, so it's a bit of a nothing race at this point, but take each horse's run on its merit. Race 2, fast tempo, fast time. Just Dreaming, a really good effort here, just chases the tearaway leader, and Arbiat Sam carts the field up, sticks its nose out when it looks all over beaten by High Mist, Insensata. Even Samadout looked to be a chance to beat it at one point there, so it's done a really good effort to strange like how fast this lead has gone was quite incredible really. Not sure what the plan was there, but definitely to the horse's detriment. You can see that Just Dreaming at this point is the one carting the field right up with Samadout. High Mist has the run on its back, had the 2 runs back. You'd think it has to beat it home. Then you've got these horses back here doing no work in Insensata and Faraway Dream in the last 2 Travancore, and is it Uptown Lad, I believe, who are well back. But here you've got to say that High Mist has definitely got Just Dreaming beat. Samadout's forced back to probably the worst part, so for giving it a touch, and these 2 runners which have done the least work in Insensata and Faraway Town look the closers, especially with Insensata, who probably looks the winner here. And it's hard to say why it didn't kind of win. The winner's just a winner, if that makes sense. It just stuck its head out and done a really good job. No knock, can't knock it. Can't really knock the other runners. They run really quick time. Faraway Town maybe, as it's lobbed into 4th, had every possible chance. little bit soft on the line compared to the others, and there's just not a lot of merit in its run compared to the others. But even high mist, it's hard to be too excited about, but it has presented. It was there at the right, like 300 or 400 metres out, and is an overly weak late. So not a whole. I don't want to be too negative on anything out of this race. I think it's a pretty good race, and the winner's just a winner who'll probably keep on winning. It's I've not found it its last two, but it's done really solid jobs both times. Race 3, the highway, solid tempo, not only just marginally fast. Time's good. Winner clearly superior. There were a couple of failures in the market. Mr. Marmalade, Mermaid, and Forever New York. So basically second, third, fourth, and fifth pick in Trying, who was heavily backed, are all failures, which does deter from the race as a whole. Zamex had the pattern against it, no doubt, and sort of might have looked like it missed the boat there at one point. Does pick them up strong late, beat a couple of horses not too well fancied in the market. Oh Lord, he sat outside the win at leader, which was a good tactical effort, I thought, and had its chance, Eva Jean, every possible. So there are some worries there about the form in the race. There is a good little gap from third to fourth of 3 lengths, which we'll see, but it's just a bit of a 50-50 phone a friend whether this race is any good or not. Zamex is obviously very one-dimensional, but here you just didn't want to be on, and it's just a case of, I think he's chasing these two horses, just don't do a good job. These two get away from him in the best part, and then he's the only one chasing. So I don't want to pour cold water on what looks a nice horse. It's obviously strong, and it's not a horse that you'd ever want to really be laying or anything like that, because when he has conditions to suit, he's going to be strong, but it's and he's the only one doing anything, but he's just probably better than this lot under these conditions, definitely. And that, I'm not sure how far that carries him is kind of my answer. The jury's out on him a bit for me. I think his last 2 starts, he's had a lot go his way in different shapes. Like last start, he obviously got the dream run up the fence and got to build his momentum. This time he had the pattern against him, but he had a solid tempo and some negative things happening to others in the market, which may have flattered him a little bit. So a little bit careful on him, but not pouring any cold water. It was a great win. Definitely strong through the lines, clearly dominant over those, and just a little bit worried about him going up in grade, but we'll see what happens with him. Race 4, Test the World, slow tempo, average time overall. They come home okay, but nothing sensational. Definitely just about was handed the race, entitled to win, and did get the job done, but there was only half a length, 3/4 of a length between the first 5 across the line, so it's definitely a race to be wary of, and I'm not too desperate to back anything out of it. You'll see the sort of gets to the front under its own steam. Everything else in the race is really not overly taxed at any stage. The flying V down the straight is always a bad sign, or a tough sign to follow horses out of the race and charge the light brigade off a slow tempo. We learnt nothing there, I don't think. Nothing was overly weak. It's really tough to be negative or positive on any of these horses. I'd rather be negative than positive, but there's not a lot there. Even Validate, who raced out of its grade, kind of got a bit keen on the inside there, and can be excused the length and a half going up to Saturday grade for the first time. It's just a race I want to put down as a barrier trial and use it as a fitness run for anyone that was involved. I don't want to be positive, that's for sure, and I don't really want to be too negative on them, seeing the circumstances of each runner. Race 5. Fast tempo, good time overall. Leopari's been just given a great ride here, solidly backed. Mossendale was definitely the run of the race. He's honest, he's done everything but win. He's just got nutted on the line. Reby the Red, probably not suited at that distance range, probably wants a little bit further, has done a really good job off a good ride. Magical Stance looked the winner for mine, just maybe a little bit flat second up off a good win. Can be fitter, and Obsidian was similarly just that fast run race has probably played against him late, even though suited by a fast run race. Fitness wise, he's probably just peaked late, considering they've run good time. If they had have slowed down a bit more, he might have been in the finish, but there is a good contest for the lead here, which always looked likely. See Ruby the Red eventually works up outside the leader, which was kind of ideal for his pattern. The winner gets to split through the middle here and sprints a bit sharper than Ruby the Red, which is to be expected. The winner gets on his back. Leopari Bowman just tags, and out sprints him right on the line. Here's Magical Stance coming around after having every chance in the run, and Obsidian was on its back and followed it through. So all the runners across the line have had their chance. Everything else behind it's basically had their chance. Kellyville Flyer probably a little bit further back and wider than you want it to be, but still the merit's kind of with the first 5 across the line. They've all done solid efforts, and again a race that's not too much to be learned about. They're all going well enough to win races. Obsidian probably has to be placed a little bit more carefully and was a little bit more suited there, even though it was first up and understandably was a bit weak late, which was to be expected. So not a race we've learned a lot around. I'd like to see Ruby the Red go up in trip and back in grade if possible. Win a second or something similar. Leopard is obviously going to something similar, and so would Magical Stance, and they'll all be competitive at their next starts. Race 6, Supply and Demand, even tempo, fast time. It's just a horse that's amazingly, couldn't fight off So Willie over the mile. 3 starts ago, has come out and gone up in trip and been dominant. Its next 2 starts over further, so sometimes it's hard to work out. Toucan Chew played up noticeably in the yard and really got wound up and did a good job to finish its race off as well as it has to run second. Ready to win, Montauk, Mighty Lucky, Beraldo Jr. and So Willie all raced okay. Even Destiny's Kiss, who was caught wide and working throughout, will come right on from this. Fitness-wise, probably the ones behind it are the ones you want to see improve, hugely to be competitive. In Toucan Chew up outside the lead is probably the run of the race here. Supply and Demand's had the cart in its back everywhere. Super fit. Got off its back and just too good. Montauk chases hard, and So Willie's probably just a little bit better back at the mile. Just was a little bit keen over the 2,000 metres tempos and just can't finish off as quick as he does over the mile. Raldo Jr. was good for further late, but he was probably just a little bit too far back in the run. We'll see where he was back on the outside last of So Willie and had to come 15 wide around the turn wire. So Willie kind of waited a bit longer and cut out, so his effort was okay to be a bit strong late, but not much between all of them really. The first 5 or 6 across the line, there's not really much between them, and it's all about luck in running, and the only horse I'd probably like to see go back in distance is So Willie to do his best. Race 7, heavily back winner in Sir Plush. Dominant, really dominant late, had the right run, which always looked likely, either whether it was outside the lead or behind the lead. When Badajoz decided to press forward and take on the leader, that really set the race up for him, and he was in the right position to pounce. They've run an even sort of tempo and run fast time here, so it's no surprise that nothing really ran on. And the runs from the horses 4th, 5th, 6th in Pioneering, Magic Alibi and Zinzanetti were all pretty solid for mine. And I think they're horses that can be followed out of this race as far as the winner can. He's a bit more obvious, obviously. And he's going to probably go on to better things this prep. I thought Magic Alibi did a good job first up 1100. I hope it's kept to this trip. Really like it around this trip. And if it has a bit more luck, it can strip fitter and run really well. Pioneering, probably just a horse that you want to see on top of the ground and just use this as a barrier trial. And Zinzanetti probably goes up in trips something around 1400 now, and he can be dangerous once he gets that sort of trip in similar grade. Good to see Sir Plush lengthening nicely on this surface, which wasn't easy to do, and really put them away late. Found that first surge and then runs right through the line, which is a great sign for him this preparation. Sir Plush to follow, pioneering on improving ground if possible. Similar for Magic Alibi over the same sort of distance, and Zinzanetti going up in trip. Race 8. Solid win this, really flying Collateral. Never really looked the winner for mine, and ended up winning and running away from the heavily backed cars off from the Waller stable. The first 3 sort of clear out here and definitely got all the merit with them. At times, even and average time, solid tempo. So there's just no real excuses for anything that's been beaten in this race, and nothing. So there's Bowman snuck into the race at the perfect time here with these leaders are coming back. Clark's tried to get his back, but he has been wide, no cover for most of the race. Speed Heroes come from dead last, and Up in Trips done a really good job. I thought he just kind of peaked late, but had to sustain a lot longer, wider run than the first two. So it's done a good job here, Speed Hero. And the good thing about Collateral here, you just sort of watch it here, and even through the line when he's eased up on the horse, it's continued on that. He can hardly pull the horse up. So this horse will get further, I'd say. It's racing in career best form, there's no doubt about that, and it'll be hard to beat wherever it goes. Karsov looks a horse that's going to be a better horse next time in, but not to be completely written off this preparation. It's just a worry that it might come up a little bit short. And Speed Hero in a similar race, even back to a mile on this sort of ground, or at this sort of trip again, can run a really positive race. I'm sure of that. Class race, and this horse simply just had a huge class edge on these horses by the look of it. It's really just sat last and round them up. It did have a good pace on to suit, and not a great overall time. So you just say the best horse sort of rose to the top. There were some runs from horses in the race. First up in Tatouche, Darcy's Affair, and especially Francesco back on the inside. That looks like they've come back well. I think Tatouche, had already had the run. Darcy's Affair and Francesco were first up. Pick Me Up was given just the best ride you'll see, and had its chance, and Invincible Night was just too good for it. So we'll just a quick look at the finish throughout the race. So Francesco ended up back on the fence. Tatouche has had its chance here. Most horses had their chance here for mine. All in the Reflexes definitely racing well. Invincible Night just had a bit much. Obviously this bunch finish is not really ideal, but this was Francesco and Darcy's Affair back towards that inside section. Definitely look to be horses that can continue on this preparation and run well. The 14 Impicao Prince was a monster run, no doubt about that, and probably should have won this race, but goes back to Melbourne without the trophy. Unfortunately, it can be competitive in something similar, but we can see back here it's only like 4 lengths over 10 or 11 runners. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14 runners, 3 lengths, 4 lengths. So it's not going to be a great form race, I wouldn't imagine, but Invincible Night is one that was just dominant there with the big weight and things against it. Apart from the pace, the pattern of the day, coming that wide and sustaining a run wasn't easy. So it's done a good job, and now can go back up to its right grade. Really nothing else to be learned from that, and that's about it for the day. So thanks guys, and I hope there was something there. I'll come back with a horse to follow. Sorry I haven't been able to do one for a while. I've been a bit crook and plenty on, so I'll get one of them out as soon as I can. Thanks.